We're back on High School Extra Live. Now, you've seen all the previews that you probably care to see up to the moment anyway of all the Texas Bowl matchups. How about some highlights from the Friday night action? State semifinals, Class 3A, and we started off with the Aledo Bearcats and the Commerce Tigers as they would meet at Homer B. Johnson Stadium in Garland. Now, Commerce led this one 7-0, and as these two battle of the uniforms, the black, orange, and white, it's the Tigers who add to the lead. Cornelius Hines on the scramble, breaking tackles, goes 34 yards for the touchdown. Commerce on top, 13-0. Tigers would make it 19-0 when Ryan Cienti takes it in from 12 yards out, and looks like they're totally in command of this. Now, Aledo does get on the scoreboard before the half. Quarterback Dustin Proctor going to the air, finding Michael Hall from 13 yards out. It was 19-7 at the half. Aledo threatening again in the third quarter before costly holding penalty ended a drive. Then Commerce airs it out. Cornelius Hines to P.J. Winston, 53 yards on the strike. 26-7, the Tigers on top. Myrio Sampson then adds his second touchdown of the evening. This third quarter score makes it 33-7. Aledo gets a fourth quarter touchdown, but the Bearcats fall short of Commerce. The Tigers in the state championship round for the second time in 3 years as they knock off Aledo 33-14. The other state semifinal matchup, a rematch of week 4. Sealy and LaGrange, the three-time defending state champion Tigers, taking on the LaGrange Leopards. Sealy had won the week 4 matchup 35-14 in a game that was pretty tight until it got into the fourth quarter. The folks from LaGrange venturing down to the Astrodome saying they had no fear of those Sealy Tigers. And the Tigers, well, they were ready for LaGrange. Business as usual for T.J. Mills and the Tigers. On the 17th play of a monster game-opening drive, Michael McDonald loses the handle on the football after an initial indication that the football was going to LaGrange. This official would be overruled, and McDonald was said to be down by contact at the 1-yard line. On the 18th play of the drive, Ryan Johnson in for the final yard. Extra point no good, 6-0 Sealy. LaGrange's first offensive play from scrimmage, Lawrence Dobbins. He's off and gone. 70 yards to the end zone, and LaGrange goes on top 7-6. Now it stays that way until 3.5 minutes remained in the half. Outstanding punt by Sealy's Derek Leckler put the Leopards at their own 2. Quarterback Ty Gunn rolls out, sacked by Neil Deemer for the safety. Sealy leads at 8-7 at the half. Leckler extends that lead to 11-7 with a third quarter field goal. Then late in the third, Dobbins one more time. Up the middle, scorching the secondary. 74 yards for the score. It's LaGrange leading 14-11 going into the final quarter. Sealy battling right back. Kelvin Tarver on the call, and they'll not catch him. Tarver turns it outside, 67 yards for the Sealy Tiger touchdown. Tigers back on top, 24-14. LaGrange offense trying to come back down the field, but they stall. And the Tigers then put it away with 1:18 to go. Tarver on the pitch. 4th and 1, in for the score. Touchdown Sealy, back in the state championship round for the 4th straight year. The Tigers knock off LaGrange 24-14 with the big fourth quarter push. And the High School Extra Live's Keith Fletcher was standing there with the winning and happy head coach, T.J. Mills.
All right, Craig, thanks a lot. This has become somewhat of our weekly chat with Coach T.J. Mills. Coach, we keep talking to you every week because you keep on winning. It's usually been somewhat of a weekly yuck session, talking about how dominant your team has been. Close call this time. How was
close call? I tell you what, they were a very explosive football team, just like we were afraid of. And Dobbins is a great little back, and I thought we played great defense. Gave up 5 first downs, 173 yards, and 2 of those, I believe, were 150 yards, 160 yards that he ran for touchdowns. And we had to come from behind. The kids had to find a way to win. We had our center was out. He was sick and didn't play until the last couple of minutes. Robbie Bozeman hurt his knee in the first quarter. He found a way to come in and made a courageous effort. All the kids just pulled together and found a way to win the game. I was tickled to death with it.
When you entered the fourth quarter down 14-11, did you check your team to see how they were reacting, to see what you could get out of them for the fourth quarter?
No. I knew how they were. I knew how they reacted. I could hear them talking behind me and stuff, and all they wanted is just a chance to go back and get the football and try and go down and score. They felt like they could. They were confident at half that we could move the football. We just had a little trouble. We didn't have as much offense with our backup quarterback. You know, he don't get as many snaps as the first teamer, and so we had to cut about half the offense out. And they were doing a great job of adjusting everything we were doing.
The people of Commerce have waited a couple of years now to get another shot at you. I'm sure you hear this a lot, teams wanting to get back and get a second shot.
We haven't heard yet.
Well, Commerce won. They won pretty handily. But what do you think about the rematch with Commerce? They got a lot more than just playing for a state championship. They have a lot of revenge and so forth working for them.
I hope they think about that revenge all the way. You know, they have a great program. Coach Lineweaver does a great job. The whole staff. That's probably the best coached team we've seen in the last 5 years. They just did a tremendous job when we played them up there, and I'm sure it'll be a battle. You know, I hope we have our kids back. I don't know what our status is, but I'm sure our kids will play with all their heart, and that's all you can ask.
Anything about the sites for next week or possibilities?
I believe we're going to flip Texas Stadium against the Dog. I believe that's the scenario. We're supposed to do it at about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time. Another win.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's TJ Mills, the winner of yet another game. That's now 25 consecutive. Let me do my math. Consecutive wins in the playoffs for the Sealy Tigers as they are one step closer to their 4th consecutive state championship. Craig, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Keith. Well, you've heard from one victorious head coach. How about the other one? High School Extra Live's Paul Melton visiting with Steve Lineweaver, the winning Commerce head coach tonight.
Throughout the season, the Sealy Tigers have been ranked #1, the Commerce Tigers #2, and I guess somebody knew something because those are the final 2 teams left in Class 3A at the end of the 1997 season. Coach Steve Lineweaver of Commerce joins us now. First of all, Coach Lineweaver, how do you feel, first of all, about another shot at a state title and another shot at Sealy?
Well, we're extremely excited about winning game number 15 and getting to this place, playing Sealy. Just playing anybody, we'd be thrilled. But it's an honor to play Sealy, being a 3-time champion, going for the 4th. It's an honor to be able to go up against them.
You're getting past Aledo here tonight. You had 5 touchdowns tonight, scored by 4 different players. Have you had that kind of balance all year?
Well, I think so, yes. Of course, we had a couple of weeks ago, we only scored 14 points. Didn't have quite the balance that night. But for the most part, we spread it around pretty good.
You guys are familiar with what Sealy does because of the game 2 years ago. Do you expect the same type of Sealy team this year?
Yes, the same type of Sealy team. They drink hot coffee right out of the spout and eat raw meat. You know, I'm kidding. I'm just saying they're really tough kids, and they really are well coached. And yeah, I'm sure they'll run a lot of the same type of stuff. I understand that I haven't seen them or heard much about them. I understand they have some great football players.
Well, Coach Lineweaver, thanks for your time, and congratulations on getting past Aledo here tonight and going back to the state finals.
Thank you so much.
And there will be #1 Sealy and #2 Commerce next week for the state title in Class 3A.
All right, thanks very much, Paul. Now, you've heard from both of the guys on tape. We've got them on live with us right now, TJ Mills and Steve Lineweaver. TJ, you're the incumbent. I got to start with you. Is that true what Steve Lineweaver said? Did the post-game meal for the team tonight consist of drinking hot coffee straight from the spout and eating raw meat?
Craig, I don't know. I didn't hear the interview. I'm not sure who you're referring to.
Steve Lineweaver said your kids are so tough. He said these guys are very, very tough. They drink hot coffee straight from the spout and eat raw meat. Does that accurately describe the Tigers?
No, we eat dog biscuits. No,
okay.
We're not real tough.
Steve, let me ask you, you heard TJ Mills was saying afterwards in his interview with, and I don't want to speak for TJ, he said it afterwards with our Keith Fletcher, that there had been initial consideration of thought to flipping Texas Stadium, flip of the coin, for the Astrodome. Does that still seem to be the consensus at this point right now after the midnight hour?
I had talked about, yes. It was, we were talking in generalities, but that was discussed.
Steve, let me ask you a little bit about that 95 game. I know obviously there were certainly some painful memories, but it was a great ride for your guys getting all the way to the state final against Sealy. Do you sense that from your guys who were sophomores in 95 and freshmen in 95 that this is another one of those special seasons?
Oh, goodness, yes. You know, we're not used to this type of success. We've had a run of 15 straight games where we've won. Of course, I know Sealy's used to that, but we're not, and we're really pleased with our season so far. And to be in the championship game is just a dream. And we're real happy for our kids that they have in our town that everyone's experiencing all this success.
Of course, as we see some footage there late in the game, your team rallied, but Steve came up short on the two-point conversion, and everybody always wanted to ask if you had it to do over again. Would you do it over again? And I've read a couple of answers, and I think I kind of like the answer. Can you tell the audience what your thought was if you had it to do over again, what you would do?
Well, we go into every contest to win, you know, to play it, whether it be for the state championship or, you know, or what. And that's the way my guys wanted to play it. Now, I think hopefully I'd have made a better call, you know, and had a little bit more success with it. But, you know, yeah, it was painful after, and you wondered if you made the right decision. But, you know, I got a lot of support from my guys, and that's what's important. My players back then, and every one of them were with me, and that's what they wanted us to do. And Sealy was the champion, and we were runner-up.
TJ, one final question. Your guys have come so far, and here you stand one win away from history. Will there be more talk about it amongst your team this week since it is the final step?
No, I don't believe we have to tell anybody how important the ball game is. We've gone through all that, and we will concentrate on the fine Commerce football team and try to put back some pieces from a very physical game tonight. Try and put a football team together that can give them boys a game.
Gentlemen, we sincerely appreciate the time you spent with us late Friday into Saturday morning. Best of luck in Sealy Commerce Roman numeral 2 as you meet for the state title next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, TJ Mills of Sealy, Steve Lineweaver of Commerce. They'll duke it up one more time as they'll meet for the state title. You heard them saying it'll probably be at either Texas Stadium or the Astrodome, depending on who comes up on the right end of the coin flip from either the Commerce or the Sealy perspective. Up next on High School Extra Live, we move.
After an incredible win against LaGrange last night in the semifinals in a game played in the Dome, Sealy's problem started on the opening drive. Quarterback Robbie Bozeman. Kid's been running the offense, but he hurt his knee at the end of that run. He was out until the fourth quarter, but the Tigers scored on that drive. Brian Johnson, they missed the extra point. It was 6-0. LaGrange's first play from scrimmage, and you had to think, hey, Bozeman's hurt, and look at this. Lawrence Dobbins, a tiny back, but he's powerful, and I think he's got some speed. 70 yards, 7-6 LaGrange on top. After a great punt, Neil Deemer with the sack of LaGrange quarterback Ty Gunn, 8-6 Sealy. Third quarter, Dobbins again. Big hole up front, and then he's just going to outrun everybody. 74 yards, LaGrange retakes the lead at 14-11. But midway through the fourth quarter, Bozeman came back, and watch the quarterback's block right there. It is. That springs the running back, Kelvin Tarver. This is why Sealy is a champion. He got a block, he made a move, and Kelvin went 67 yards to put the Tigers up 17-14. Tarver added one more. Sealy won at 24-14. They're in the 3A title game next week against Commerce.
Unbelievable effort. I don't know how you did it. You came together, a total team effort, survived a lot of things that there's nothing we could do about, and you kept your daubers up, and you kept plugging, That's a sign of a champion, baby. And guess what? We're going to play for the state championship.
It's real exciting and everything, but I won't feel any relief until that game's over next week, so we still got one more ahead of us.
In Sealy, the Tigers aren't just a topic of conversation. They're the talk of the town.
Every window, every door is painted. Most of the vehicles have something about Sealy on it. Honk for Sealy, or honk if you love Sealy, or there's numbers. It's everywhere.
But if you really want to talk X's and O's, Tony's is a place to be.
Every Friday morning, the only talk is about is football, nothing else.
There's 3 groups that meet here, one at 7, one at 10. And then in the afternoon, there's another group that come in here.
They talk about the players, the last game, the next game, everything but.
We don't usually talk about losing. We just don't think about it.
Why should they? Sealy has 3 state championships to boast about, and there's only been 1 loss in 4 years, something that's earned the Tigers a lot of respect and, yes, in some cases, worship.
Well, there's this little halo over each one of them's head. But
it's an awesome feeling. I mean, I don't want to see the day that we're ever going to lose. It's probably going to be the saddest day in Sealy.
What do you think would happen if they did lose the game?
We're going to lower the flag at half-staff.
Regina McDonald knows what Tiger Fever is all about. She was a cheerleader back when Eric Dickerson played at Sealy High, and now her son is the running back.
If I'm not crying, I'm jumping, biting, high five, whatever.
Her son Michael and Jake Dowell are the only two kids who have been on all 3 state championship teams. As a result, they have 3 rings to show for it.
It's nothing like wearing it to church or to a party or something, and everybody want to see your rings and ask you, what did you do in 1995, 1996, 1997?
Oh, I have them on my hands all the time. I show them to everybody. I take them everywhere I go, definitely.
You wear all 3 at once?
I try to, yeah.
Now, don't take it wrong. These kids aren't a bunch of braggers. But if you see the rings and ask, they'll be happy to tell you. The same goes for their parents, who are incredibly proud.
After each game, we shake hands with the boys on the field and, you know, say, great game, great game. And that picture, when they win, it's just worth 1,000 words.
Kimberly Harms, 13 Eyewitness Sports.
And in the other semifinal game in 3A last night, Commerce was the winner. There was a coin toss this morning. Sealy wins it. What else? They win again. So it'll be Sealy and Commerce in the 3A title game, 7:30 Friday night in the Dome. Speaking of the Dome, let us go back live. Brian McTaggart standing by. Give us a little preview, if you could, Brian, of Sealy and Commerce and what the Tigers have ahead of them if they're going to win a record 4th straight title.
Well, I think obviously they have another formidable opponent. I think probably Sealy's biggest hurdle in the whole state championship run came last night against LaGrange. I think LaGrange is probably the 2nd best 3A team in the state, but obviously Commerce getting this far has a lot going for it. Also the revenge factor, they lost to Sealy in the title game 2 years ago, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think Sealy's going to make it 4 in a row, which will be, as we know, unprecedented, and I think it might put the Tigers atop the all-time great high school football programs that ever were in Texas.
All righty, Brian, thank you very much. Reporting live from the Astrodome. We have a lot more coming up. Welcome back to Extra Points, our high school football special. Of course, to get this far in the playoffs, you have to have great players. They have to make big plays.
Make a play, let's go. What a run.
Again, it's about 24 minutes away from the state championship.
Okay, we moved to 3A, and every time we got to 3A all year long, we said, what else? Sealy, and that continues.
Right, Sealy all the way down the line. Offensive Player of the Year is the quarterback, Robbie Bozeman. Not only getting it done with the pass, but also with the rush. He's really a double threat. They're going to have him next week to be successful. Defensively, their middle linebacker, Adam Zapalak, kind of like Busey's been the rock in the middle for the Tigers all year, and he's been one of the main reasons they've gotten this far. And Coach of the Year, no question here, TJ Mills of Sealy, first coach possibly to win 4 consecutive state championships, so he's well deserving of that.
Okay, I get the feeling the second half is about to start out there, correct? The noise level's picking up. Brian, thank you very much for being with us again this week. Enjoy the rest of the games in the Dome. And I say the rest of the games because we have a second half. Texas City is going to try to win one against Corsicana. Then you got New Braunfels and Texas City going against each other in the 5A Division II semifinals. That game is scheduled to start about 8 o'clock. As we told you at the beginning of the program,
Welcome back to our Texas Bowl State Championship edition of the High School Extra here in Houston at the Astrodome. Now, we've been telling you that the 5A Division II and 4A Division II brackets were down to the state semifinal level. Same story goes for classes 3A and 2A. Sealy, the 3-time defending state champion, putting its hopes for a record 4th consecutive state title on the line when they went into the semifinals. Let's take a look at both the 3A and 2A semifinal brackets. Plenty of state-ranked representation in the 3 semifinals. Aledo and Commerce, LaGrange meeting Sealy. Aledo and Commerce in the battle of the black, orange, and white uniforms. Tigers led this one 7-0 when Commerce tries to add to the lead. Quarterback Cornelius Hines breaking tackles. He'll take it 34 yards in for the score. Commerce on top, 13-0. Aledo would threaten in the third quarter, trailing 19-7 before a costly holding penalty ended a drive. Then it's Hines to P.J. Winston on this 53-yard strike. 26-7 Tigers. Commerce wins it 33-14. LaGrange and Sealy would meet for the second time this season, and as was the case in the first meeting, it was tight going into the fourth quarter. In fact, it was only 11-7 Sealy when Lawrence Dahman breaks loose to go 74 yards for the touchdown. LaGrange leading the three-time defending state champs 14-11. Sealy battles right back. Kelvin Tarver gets the call, and he's off 67 yards for the touchdown here. That puts Sealy back on top. The score 18-14. The LaGrange offense would then stall. The Tigers put it away with 1:18 remaining. Tarver on the pitch out on 4th and 1 into the end zone. Sealy escapes. The Tigers back in the state championship round 24-14. Sealy and Commerce meet for the second time in 3 years to decide a 3A state title Friday night in the Astrodome. Finally, we move to Class 2A. Stanton against Italy out.
Welcome back to Sports Extra. They've played high school football a long time in this state, but the Sealy Tigers on the verge of doing something that no school has ever done, 4 state titles in a row. They've won 62 out of 63 games. The only loss last season to LaGrange, a former longtime district rival, and Sealy's opponent Friday night in the Dome. Photographer Tony Bahu gives you an inside look.
And Sealy always thought they were maybe a little bit better than LaGrange, and LaGrange always thought they were maybe a little bit better than Sealy, so yeah, it goes back quite a ways.
Hope y'all are all at the Dome later on. We'll go out there and kick Sealy's butt.
Backs the Tigers by total commitment on Friday nights. The stands are full, the town is excited, every customer I wait on, especially today. Every question I have answered is about Tiger football, not about account balances.
Y'all gonna come out and watch us tonight? We've done it once, we'll do it again. Y'all just come out there.
Been a lot of talk all week long, hasn't it been? Lots of words. Lots of words. Words don't play the game, do they? Words have never won a ball game.
Guess what? We're going to play for the state championship.
Sealy may represent the little guys in 3A, but they are definitely
to the Astrodome. The Sealy Tigers looking for the unprecedented 4th straight 11-man state football championship. Commerce, they're victims of 2 years ago, trying to end the black and gold dominance. After Sealy's opening drive stalled, Commerce quarterback Cornelius Hines connects. Rodriguez Lewis down to the 1-yard line. Mario Sampson would then finish the drive for Steve Lineweaver's ball club. He goes in from a yard out. Tigers on top 6-0. They missed the extra point. Meanwhile, Sealy's starting quarterback Robbie Bozeman had to watch from the sidelines, unable to go. Remember, he had hurt his knee, and backup quarterback Trey Moore in the Tiger offense would struggle early on in this one, unable to get things going. Commerce would lead it 6-0 at the end of the first quarter and a 105-36 edge in total offense. But second quarter, different story. The offense gets going. Brian Johnson on the reverse, and he'll go 50 yards to the end zone. Touchdown, Sealy. Tigers connect on the extra point, and Sealy on top, 7-6. Commerce does try to strike back. First play of the next possession, however, Hines picked off by Sealy's Michael Griffin. That sets up the Tigers in excellent field position. Trey Moore this time with the response. The nice play fake to the air and finds Jason Carr open for the touchdown. Sealy up 14-6. That's the halftime score. Tigers lead it by 8. Third quarter now. And a bit of controversy in this one with Sealy on top, 14-6. Commerce would be driving in the Sealy territory, and it looks like Ryan Ciente has his progress stopped, but the ball stripped from his grasp by Sealy's Chris Davenport. Davenport races 60 yards for the touchdown. Sealy in command at 21-6. Commerce does respond. They come right back down the field. The touchdown by Eric Ciente from 4 yards out. Commerce then decides to go for 2. Try to get it back to within a touchdown and an extra point, and it's there on the pass into the end zone, 21-14. But Sealy has the answer. They do turn it around and come right back, and it's Bozeman at quarterback now. The handoff this time to Michael McDonald. He goes 25 yards for the touchdown, and it's now a 2-touchdown lead for Sealy, 28-14 into the final quarter. After having a 50-yard touchdown pass called back because of a penalty, Commerce still fights back. 1-yard Hines plunge. 28-21 Sealy. Commerce defense digs in. They stop Sealy, and they get the ball back. One final shot, less than 2 minutes to go, and they face 4th down with 1:17 to go, but the pass picked off. The 3A Defensive Player of the Year, Adam Zapalak, takes it back, and the 4-peat becomes reality. 4 score, whatever you want to call it. It's 4 straight state championships for the Sealy Tigers. Never been done before in 11-man. It happened at the 6-man level. Fort Hancock from 88 to 91, but it's Sealy, the first team to do it in the 11-man classification in Class 3A. The Tigers, winners over the Commerce Tigers. An entertaining game in the Dome, but it's TJ Mills Ball Club that gets the victory, 28-21. Now, the high school Extra Lives, Keith Fletcher was down amongst the celebration and also the dejection. That was both sides, Commerce and Sealy, in the Astrodome.
28-21, Sealy does win their 4th consecutive state championship. A lot of similarities to the game. 2 years ago, Commerce comes ahead in first downs and in total yards, just like 2 years ago. Let's first hear the comments from Commerce coach Steve Lineweaver.
Well, we had the lead, if you remember, initially, and we had a turnout. We knew we had to open up the offense and throw, and when you throw, you have a risk of interceptions, and you know, we had one there and early, and it hurt us. But you know, you got to gamble a little bit and go for it, and they're a good team.
How frustrating is it to get a second shot at these guys and come up short again?
It's not near as bad as not getting a second shot. You know, getting here isn't quite an accomplishment. Losing to Sealy is no disgrace. They're a fine, well-coached team, and I don't know, we just made too many errors.
All right, back with Coach Mills, and it started out with Commerce taking a 7-0 lead. 6-0. 6-0, they did miss the extra point. And what was your team thinking when the Commerce has so much behind them and so much revenge, and what did it look like early on?
Well, they were a great football team, just like we thought. We had a hard time containing 13, and that scared me to death. I was hoping he ran today much. I was hoping he'd wear out sometime in the third quarter maybe, and we'd have a chance of slowing him down. But he just kept going. He's a great football player.
A dominant second quarter, 14-0. You outscore them, and also you hold them to no first downs.
Yeah, we kind of picked it up and did some good things then. And, you know, we were still doing good things. We just wasn't good enough athletes to tackle that guy. He was just so much faster than we were. He'd get out there and he'd get in a one-on-one situation. We just wasn't good enough.
Late in the game, some tense moments, the fumble, and they came close.
Yeah.
How did you like the way you guys responded late?
Well, like they always have, you know, it's what we expected, and you know, we had a few. I think I organized my first prayer session in my life over on the sideline. We got them all together, and I think we had to have a little help. I think the Lord helped us tonight.
Talk about the most special moment of this season in particular. What has it been like?
Oh, I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever been prouder than when Trey Moore threw that touchdown pass. in the second quarter. You know, he's been a backup all his life, and we always sell these kids on anybody's replaceable, and the next guy's got to be ready to go, and he worked, and he did what we asked him to do through the touchdown pass. I don't think I've ever been prouder all season long than that particular moment.
What kind of monster have you created here? Has it got to the point to where not winning a state championship can be a disappointment to these players, or do they really appreciate what's going on here?
I think they appreciate it, and I think it will be a disappointment when we finally do fall, and I know it's going to be a huge disappointment to our community. They've come to expect it, you know, and we've created a monster, and we got to feed it a little bit.
A lot of people don't realize this, but you've had the same staff all this past 4 years, all the same assistants. What is it going to be like to keep them on board possibly another 4 years?
It'd be tough. It'd be hard to do. You know, our administration has done a good job of giving me the things I need to keep them on staff, and I'm sure it's going to take a little more now, and hopefully they'll be willing to help us out and keep these quality people in Sealy, Texas.
It's been a neat 4 years. It must be nice to hold a unique page in Texas history.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable. You know, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it right now.
Coach, we appreciate you for your time. Congratulations. And good luck next year.
Thanks, man. Appreciate everything.
Craig, let's take it back to the studio. 28-21. Once again, Sealy does win their 4th consecutive state championship over the Commerce Tigers. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Keith. Just think about this. Some of the greatest coaches of all time in Texas high school football history. Paul Tyson and the Waco Tigers of the 1920s, Blair Cherry and the Amarillo Sandys of the 30s, Chuck Mosier and the great Abilene High teams of the 50s, all had won 3 consecutive state titles. And now, T.J. Mills' name is at the top of the list of 11-man schools with 4 straight state football championships. Well, that's the first of 4 Texas Bowl games this weekend. 3...
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Extra Points. This is the final weekend of the high school football season. We're going to close things out with a couple of title games. Sealy already has gone into the record books. They've gone where no other high school football team in the state of Texas has gone before. Lamarck is traveling a road that could end up in the history books in 4A. But we get started tonight on Extra Points with the 5A Division II title game in the Dome this afternoon. It was Hastings going against Flower Mound Marcus, and Spencer Stack to Tyler Edwards put Marcus on the board to make it 7-0. Then Hastings, Kabina Amu with the pick, and he's going to set up Hastings at the Marcus 2-yard line. Then on the 3rd and goal from the 5-yard line, Jacob Smith back to pass, hit, fumbled. Tim McNeely is eventually going to pick it up for Flower Mound. He would go 75 yards the other way. It was 13-0 instead of 7-7. Ensuing kickoffs. Hastings, another turnover. First time in the title game, it may have made a difference. Marcus recovers at the Hastings 21. Then Stephen Ennis, who rushed for 200 yards, got 21 of them. It was 19-0. But still, Hastings had a chance today. Jacob Smith is going to find Marcellus Chapman from 15 yards away. It was 19-7. Still within closing distance. But then the Hastings defense held. However, Smith went back to pass, got picked off. Ryan Smith, 30 yards from Stack as the result, 26-7. The final today, Flower Mound Marcus 59, Hastings 20.
We just couldn't get the big play today, and the turnovers, I think, was a big factor. We got behind, and we had to change our game plan to try to catch up, and you know, it just snowballed, and it got worse, but they did a great job.
We always going to look back and say we did a lot more than what people thought we was going to do or expect us to do. So we came out here and proved it to ourselves that we could do it, so we came out here and gave it our best.
They certainly did that. A guy's been giving it his best all year on Extra Points. From the Chronicle, Brian McTaggart. He joins us live from the Dome. We're going to talk about the first game first. And in this one, as I mentioned, Brian, Hastings in a title game for the first time. Flower Mound Marcus had been there before. Maybe a different group of players, but do you think it had an impact early in the game?
Yeah, I think it did. First quarter, Hastings made several mistakes, which really put them in a hole. They were down 19-0 after the first quarter. And I think they showed maybe a little bit jittery, maybe a little bit of nerve. And it turned out to be a big difference. They had some calls against them. They had a drop touchdown pass, a kick return called back. So nothing went right for Hastings in the first quarter. That proved to be a big difference. It really set the tone.
All righty, we're going to get back to you in just a second, Brian, because Brian has been watching the second game of today's doubleheader. Lamarck going after a record 3rd straight 4A title this afternoon, and they're facing Denison, a team that they have faced in the 2 previous title games that Lamarck has won. We pick up the action in the first quarter. Allen Waddell wanting to be in the record books with the Cougars, and Aaron May gives him the early lead on the field goal to make it 3-0 Lamarck. And Lamarck controlling the football. Dwayne Goins closes out a long drive that covered the end of the first, start of the second quarter. It is now 10-0 Lamarck in the second quarter. Let's go back to the Dome. And Brian, can you give us an update? Any change in the score and your thoughts on what happened so far in the first half?
It's still 10-0. Lamarck is driving, and here behind me, I think they had a big play. They had an interception, and their running game with their speed, they're working to the outside. They're screwing up 3, 4, 5 yards a carry. Looks like the running game might be too much. If they keep doing that, it's going to be a long day for Denison, but it's still 10-0.
All right, I want to ask you about what has happened this year in high school football in this area, and especially in 5A. People have been wondering when a 5A ball club was going to get back to a title game and win a title game. We had Katy winning last week. We had Hastings in the title game in Division II today. What was the difference this year?
Well, I think we've always had great athletes down here and great coaches. I think it was just a matter of time. I think in Katy's case, they had been there 3 years ago. A lot of the players have been through it before. The coaches have been through it before, and that experience proved to be a big difference when they got back. I think Hastings, just another well-coached team, had great athletes. Houston area is always going to have probably the top athletes in all of Texas. So it's just a matter of getting the good coaching, getting good breaks, putting everything together. I think it was probably more of a jinx thing that a Houston team hadn't been in so long than saying that Houston football's bad. So I think it was just a matter of time before someone got back and won.
Okay, before I let you go, Brian, let me throw a curveball at you. Speaking of the Lamarck game and head coach Alan Waddell, been talk this week that perhaps Mack Brown, head coach at Texas, might be interested in hiring Alan Waddell as his defensive line coach. Have you heard anything in that regard?
We heard a couple things like that a few weeks ago at the Touchdown Club last week. Mack Brown and Waddell met, and I saw them talk briefly, but it wouldn't surprise me. One thing you got to keep in mind is Coach Waddell's son is a junior on the Cougars, and I'm sure he wouldn't want to pick up before his senior year and leave. So it would surprise me if anything happened after this year.
Okay, Brian, thank you very much. Continue to watch that game. We'll read about it tomorrow in the Chronicle. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Okay, Brian McTaggart live from the Dome. And, you know, when you talk about the Lamarck program and the way they have dominated football in the 90s, everybody's wondering what's the key to their success. Well, our Kimberly Harms went out looking. She discovered one of Coach Alan Waddell's secret weapons.
You should have had the quarterback on. What happened on that?
Ask anyone in Lamarck what's allowed the Cougars to make it to 5 straight state championship games, winning the last 2, and they'll answer Coach Alan Waddell.
Great job. How you feel? All right. Good, good.
Ask the coach, and he's likely to point to his right-hand man, the secret weapon he likes to call his wire weasel.
The perfect wire weasel has to be intelligent because he has to be able to read my writing and keep up with the game plan. He has to be quick because if I start running down the sideline, he has to get out of the way and stay up with me. He has to be very strong because he has to pull me off the field if I get mad at officials and start going on the field. The numbers are way over there. Is that a new rule or that's just interpretation? Or is that just...
Every year, Waddell chooses a young player to become a wire weasel for the season, usually a quarterback. And that player is responsible for holding the game plan, keeping track of different formations and penalties, and most importantly, protecting the man in charge.
You have to keep him calm and make sure he stays in line and stuff like that. You have to be quick because he moves around a lot and sometimes your feet get to hurting.
Scott Williams knows oh too well. He's the Cougars running back coach now, but when he was in high school, he was Waddell's first ever wire weasel. And he'll never forget how hard it was to keep the coach calm.
I was probably about $1.15 soaking wet, and I had to pull him by his belt loops to get him back. And one time at a game in Victoria, he was going on the field, and I was going, "Coach, come back!" And he just swung his hand backwards and it passed right in front of my nose. Said, "From then on, buddy, you're on your own. Get tossed out." Sometimes it gets funny because, you know, he gets so animated on the sideline that you just can't do anything but laugh. So it's kind of funny sometimes.
He may be laughing, but don't make the mistake of underestimating the power of a wire weasel. They've even been known to show up in the opponent's scouting reports.
And it said if you get near the sideline, try to run over the little guy with the clipboard because if Coach Waddell loses him, he'll lose control of the game.
Waddell jokes about it, but there is a method to his weaselness. It's his way of getting young players involved. It teaches them how and why the coach makes the decisions he does because the weasel's right there with them in critical situations. And in the process of teaching, Waddell's learned something himself. Show players you care, and they'll be friends for life.
We developed a relationship that could be from player to friend. He was the best man at my wedding when I got married in '91, and so our relationship has been real close. And even when I was in college, I could always call him and you know, hey, what's going on? Hey, I got some problems. I'm going to deal with this. And he's always that father figure. Wells, one of my best friends.
Oh, there he goes, there he goes, there he goes, there he goes.
Not a bad way to win championships.
We have a good time anyway.
Kimberly Harms, 13 Eyewitness Sports.
Still to come on Extra Points, the Sealy Tigers seal up their bid as the top team in Texas high school football history.
If you've been postponing the thrill of driving a new Dodge, we have to ask why. Because by acting right now, you can get this Dodge Dakota, complete with air conditioning at no extra charge, for just $169 a month. Or for just $198 a month, you could own this Dodge Ram that includes a Magnum V6 and air. But don't delay, because the thrill of driving a new Dodge may not always be so affordable. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Step through, sir.
That's odd.
Empty out your pockets. Huh. Are you wearing a watch?
Oh, for goodness sake. Every time I come here.
After a short vacation, Crash is back. And this time, he's ready for just about anything.
I am not comfortable with this. Whoa, hello.
PlayStation. There may be places in the world where the weather is predictable. Houston is not one of those places. When there's a storm brewing, a blue norther blowing in, or a hurricane bearing down, that's when you need an early warning. With Houston's most experienced weather team, plus the powerful Doppler 13 radar network and Storm Tracker, 13 Eyewitness News is clearly the leader in weather technology. Get the early warning weather advantage, only on 13 Eyewitness News.
Junior Achievement is cool. We learn lots of stuff about the business world. They tell us about different jobs, all the choices we have.
It's about who we can be.
Junior Achievement is here to help children grow, and you can help by becoming a volunteer. It only takes an hour a week to help a youngster succeed. To volunteer, call Junior Achievement at 713-682-4500.
Welcome back to Extra Points. Last night, the Sealy Tigers, fittingly, had the Dome all to themselves as they won a state record fourth straight state football championship. They were going against Commerce. It was 6-0 Commerce when Brian Johnson went to work. Sophomore running back, 50 yards, and it was 7-6 Sealy. They were on top, and they were on top to stay. Michael Griffith. The defensive team for Sealy doesn't get enough recognition, perhaps. The pick by Michael set him up at the 33. Trey Moore, backup quarterback, didn't look like it, to Jason Carr. 14-6 Sealy at that point. Opening possession, third quarter. Here comes the defense again. They force a Commerce fumble, and Wesley Martinez back of the pack. Did you see him? Apparently Commerce didn't, because Wesley went the distance to make it 21-6, 21-14, when Michael McDonald, one of two guys who's got 4 state championship rings now, makes it 28-14, 28-21. Just over 2 minutes left. Robbie Bozeman, he was a gutty quarterback last night, coughed it up there, but the defense again to the rescue. Adam Zapalak, your defensive player of the year in 3A with a pick, and Sealy celebrates another state title. Nobody else has won 4 straight. They do it 28-21 over Commerce. We now are going to go live to the Astrodome because TJ Mills, the head coach, is out there to join us. TJ, first of all, did you sleep at all last night?
I finally got to sleep about 5:30 this morning, Tim.
How do you feel? I mean, you've been thinking about this and thinking about this. You told us a couple of weeks ago that the community of Sealy would not be happy unless you got a 4th straight title. That is now off of your back. Can you relax at all? Can you put into words how you feel?
It's kind of hard to put into words. It's just like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulders. I'm very relaxed today. I'm out here at the Astrodome watching a great ball game, just having a good time.
Of course, now everybody's going to say, okay, you've done it 4 times, do it 5 straight times. Can you do it again?
Well, that's what we sell our kids on. We don't line up to do anything else. We win a state championship. We're going to go back to work when we get back to school and start working on 5. We had a whole bunch of sophomores out there last night playing for us, and we think they can get pretty good next year and give us a chance.
Okay, now I know after the celebration on the field last night, you went back home to Sealy, and you got together and you had another celebration there. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we had a stadium full of people and representatives from each of the 4 state championship teams, the kids, and just had a big ball and fireworks and speeches and everything. It was just a real fun time. We had a great time last night.
Okay, final thing, TJ, who have you heard from around the state? Have other coaches been calling you?
Oh, yeah, you know, close friends and stuff have called, and I've heard from more media than I've ever talked to in my life, TV and radio and print and everything. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a great ride, and I'm sure in the next couple of weeks, us coaches, we tend to kind of leave each other alone when you're in the heat of the battle, but I'm sure they'll be calling here in the next couple of weeks.
TJ, you've been most gracious, speaking of the media, you've been most gracious to us throughout this run. I know there was a lot of pressure on you and your football club, but you and the kids obviously reflect the coach's personality and what the coaches taught them, because they've been great to us. You have. Congratulations, and congratulations to the community up there in Sealy.
Thank you, Tim. That means a lot coming from you. We appreciate it.
All right, TJ Mills, head coach of the Sealy Tigers. They have done what no other high school football team in the state of Texas has ever done. And remember, this is a state that's known for its high school football, 4 straight championships. We're going to be back in a second. That pellet gang is right around the corner.
I still think it's disgusting and disgusting.
That's garbage. I think the average man would rather get slapped in the face than be spat upon like that. A degrading, vile act. I think Romanowski should have been suspended again.
Did I ever tell you about the time I saw Santa Claus?
Since 1923, families have made it a tradition to give Russell Stover boxed chocolates, especially for the holidays. Make sure your holiday is everything you remember, this and every Christmas. That's the best. With Russell Stover, the tasteful gift to give.
Talk about Santa.
The hottest new vehicle in Texas, the 97 Ford Expedition, is on sale now at McHike Ford. Shop one of the biggest selections in Houston at our lowest sale price of the year. The Ford Expedition XLT from only $25,899 or $319 a month. Or choose the #1 97 Ford Explorer. Over 100 to choose from only $21,995 or $279 a month. And there's still no charge for that great McHike feeling.
You've been my inspiration.
Join us as we look back at 1997.
My world is a better place because of you. My power is all the best there was in me. I'm everything I am because you love me. Oh, I'm everything I am
All the best to you in 1998.
because you loved me.
Happy holidays from your family at ABC 13.
We're back here on Extra Points. An update from the Dome. It is still Lamarck 10, Denison nothing, 4A Division II title game. About 1:30 to go in the first half. We'll keep you up to date. Rockets, they're in San Antonio tonight, trying to make it back-to-back wins after last night's 116-98 victory over Sacramento. The Kings gave them a battle for a while. Clyde is going to be back tonight. That'll help. Last night got ticked off at the referee, Steve Jaffe. He was tossed before the first quarter was over already. Without Akeem and Roderick Rhodes still out with a sore knee, the Rockets struggled to pull away from the Kings. Finally, fourth quarter, Eddie Johnson, he began to loosen things up from the outside. Eddie got all of his 14 points in the period. Charles, his usual methodical self, you sometimes think he hasn't had a big game until you look at the numbers. Last night, 23 points, 16 rebounds, a team leading 6 assists. Kevin Willis, he continues to make the Kings' absence a bit easier to swallow, 28 and 10. Rockets pull away fourth quarter to make a close game look like a rout. Going to have to play better tonight because remember the Spurs, they lost by 30 last time to the Rockets.
Every team, you know, builds momentum based on wins. So
that's why Houston, one of the reasons Houston's playing so well, you know, they feel very confident. They feel every time they step on the court, they're going to win.
Maybe we could turn the tables on them. They gave us a butt whooping last time, and a lot of guys haven't forgot that.
And, of course, we're going to give you a rundown on that game when we see you tonight at 10 o'clock. Of course, the Rockets have had their controversies over the years, but they have never had anything like Latrell Sprewell. Tonight, Bob Allen and the Tell It gang with their opinions on the controversy.
Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome to the Tell It Like It Is segment of Extra Points. Kenny Hand, Charlie Palillo, and our friend Ralph Cooper are here. I guess since the last time we have convened in this corner, we have not discussed something that you probably haven't talked anything at all about on your shows, and that's Latrell Sprewell.
Who's that?
Latrell Sprewell? You heard the name?
Ad nauseum.
Yeah. We all have, Bob.
It was justified. I think I'll give my opinion, I'll throw it out. I think what the NBA did was totally justified, and they were right.
Well, I agree with you. Many people who look like me have disagreed with that particular move on the part of the NBA. But I think if the NBA is going to try to keep the image that they've created over the last few years, they've got to do things like that. They can't have that type of thing happening in the NBA, in my opinion.
There are still a lot of racial problems in this country, but to argue that race played a role in this incident, I think, is insulting to those real causes. What Sprewell did is unjustifiable, no matter how you try to rationalize.
You can't go around punching and choking your ball. Then there was the Romanowski deal the other day, and a lot of people thought, well, that was even more insulting that he spit on.
See your friendly Texas Dodge dealer today and the Sony Computer Entertainment PlayStation.
History-making, record-breaking Sealy Tigers.
Brought to you by Southwestern Bell and the Texas High School Coaches Association, working together for the youth of Texas.
We're back inside the Fox studios where we brought you High School Extra live throughout the course of this 1997 season here on a state championship edition of the High School Extra. Let's move on to the 3A Texas Bowl, hosted by the Astrodome, which of course has been the busiest of state championship venues. It's been like a second home to the Sealy Tigers, who are out for a piece of history as they took on the Commerce Tigers on Friday night. After Sealy's opening drive stalled, Commerce strikes. Quarterback Cornelius Hines connects. Rodriguez Lewis down to the 1-yard line. Mario Sampson would then finish the drive for Steve Lineweaver's ball club. He goes in from a yard out. Tigers on top 6-0. They missed the extra point. Meanwhile, Sealy's starting quarterback Robbie Bozeman had to watch from the sidelines, unable to go. Remember, he had hurt his knee, and backup quarterback Trey Moore in the Tiger offense would struggle early on in this one, unable to get things going. Commerce would lead it 6-0 at the end of the first quarter and a 105-36 edge in total offense. But second quarter, different story. The offense gets going. Brian Johnson on the reverse, and he'll go 50 yards to the end zone. Touchdown, Sealy. Tigers connect on the extra point, and Sealy on top 7-6. Commerce does try to strike back. First play of the next possession, however, Hines picked off by Sealy's Michael Griffin. That sets up the Tigers in excellent field position. Trey Moore this time with the response. The nice play fake to the air and finds Jason Carr open for the touchdown. Sealy up 14-6. That's the halftime score. Tigers lead it by 8. Third quarter now. And a bit of controversy in this one with Sealy on top, 14-6. Commerce would be driving in the Sealy territory, and it looks like Ryan Ciente has his progress stopped, but the ball stripped from his grasp by Sealy's Chris Davenport. Davenport races 60 yards for the touchdown. Sealy in command at 21-6. Commerce does respond. They come right back down the field. The touchdown by Eric Santee from 4 yards out. Commerce then decides to go for 2. Try to get it back to within a touchdown and an extra point, and it's there on the pass into the end zone, 21-14. But Sealy has the answer. They do turn it around and come right back, and it's Bozeman at quarterback now. The handoff this time to Michael McDonald. He goes 25 yards for the touchdown, And it's now a 2-touchdown lead for Sealy, 28-14 into the final quarter. After having a 50-yard touchdown pass called back because of a penalty, Commerce still fights back. 1-yard Hines plunge, 28-21 Sealy. Commerce defense digs in, they stop Sealy, and they get the ball back. One final shot, less than 2 minutes to go, and they face 4th down with 1:17 to go, but the pass picked off. The 3A Defensive Player of the Year, Adam Zapalak, takes it back, and the four-peat becomes reality. 4 score, whatever you want to call it. It's 4 straight state championships for the Sealy Tigers. Never been done before in 11-man. It happened at the 6-man level, Fort Hancock from 88 to 91, but it's Sealy, the first team to do it in the 11-man classification in Class 3A. The Tigers, winners over the Commerce Tigers, an entertaining game in the Dome, but it's T.J. Mills Ball Club that gets the victory, 28-21. Now T.J. Mills has accomplished what no coach in the state of Texas has ever before accomplished in 11-man high school football. 4 consecutive state football championships. Congratulations to T.J. Mills and to that outstanding bunch of Sealy Tigers. We've got